It's time to breathe again on the Breath of Fresh Air webcast on YouTube and Facebook. So, welcome to the show. You see me, Charles, and I got Patrick with me. And, well, let's jump into the show, Patrick, because I know we both got a lot of stuff to do after the show ourselves. So,
Oh, yeah. We gotta get payroll done.
So, let's start. Well, we're going to start with an Atlanta team, Patrick. We're going to start with the Falcons. We will get to the Hawks and some of the other NBA playoff action in just a moment. But here we're going to start with Falcons wide receiver Julio Jones, who I guess was called. So that's how I gather the story here, Patrick, and then get your thoughts on this. He got called by Shannon Sharp during their show, his show with Skip Bayless, Undisputed, whatever. And they were, I guess, talking about his status of whether or not he's going to be with the Falcons coming up this year. Julio said basically he's out of there. Now, what that means, I guess you could take it a couple of ways. It could mean he knows he's going to get traded, a trade's inedible. Or he could just be saying, well, I'm out of there, but we'll see. I think I'm out of there, but we'll see. Who knows? Whatever. But now everybody is wondering where Julio Jones could get traded for. I can bring this up to you because I know you have said for months they should trade Julio Jones. And it looks like, from all indications, he could be gone. So, what are your thoughts on these comments, and where do you think he will get traded to? And one more question for you on top of that.
Okay.
What do you want for him? If you're going to trade Julio Jones away, what are you looking for?
Ooh, okay. Perfect. Dude, I like those questions because I got the answer for every one of them. Are we ready?
Yes.
First of all, I got to say, I have been saying this for 2.5 months. Trading. Not that I don't want him there, but the problem is that Matt Ryan tends to regress while he's on the field. And it's just been proven time and time again that who did I say? Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan.
Did I say Matthew Stafford?
No, you said Matt Ryan, unless I missed it. I thought you said Matt Ryan.
Well, it was starting to come back. I was like, did I say Matthew Stafford? Anyway,
it's cool.
So Matt Ryan tends to regress when Julio Jones is on the field. He makes, I think he makes bad decisions while he's on the field, personally, because don't get me wrong, Julio Jones is a phenomenal, one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in the game today, right? The man he just is athletically inclined at the wide receiver position. Would love to keep him. But when your quarterback throws into double and triple coverage just to try to get to him, there's a problem. And it tends to make Atlanta regress when you got this prolific offense that just should dominate almost on the field every time. Literally, they should be scoring every time down the field. That's how prolific this offense is, especially in an offensive-driven system, in an offensive-driven league. This team should be scoring. They do, but the problem is their defense allows more points. But that's another topic for another day.
They do need to stop somebody. But yeah, sorry.
They do need to stop somebody. Well, actually, that is the same topic because I'm fixing to tell you what I'm going to trade him for. But, just give some more depth on this. About a month and a half ago, Julio Jones did actually request for a trade. He said that he did not want to be in Atlanta anymore because, truthfully, I don't think this offense is going to be geared towards wide receivers like that, not to have that many. I think the reason why this offense picked up Pitts was because this is going to be a spread offense. They are going to spread the ball around. And Julio Jones is just probably not in that mix like he would be under another offense, like the current offense that they run last year. So my personal opinion, I said this 2 months ago, but you can't trade him before draft time because you're not really going to get a lot for him. Stock tends to go down and picks tend to go up. You're not going to get as many picks for Julio Jones then like you would now. If somebody's going to be like, well, I would love to take Julio Jones off your hand for my first round draft pick. You see what I'm saying? The negotiation tends to be more a little one-sided on the other side opposed to trading side. So you really can't trade him at that point. So you have to wait until after draft. Then you can get your players, and then you can go and find out what you need that you didn't get from the draft. My personal opinion, I think they trade him for linebackers. They need some linebackers. They need some tackles. They need a line and some linebackers. And I would go and get some. I mean, there's a couple of them in Chicago. There's a couple of them in New England. You got a couple. They're in places. But it's going to have to be one of those big blockbuster deals that's going to require 2, 3, maybe even 4 teams to get this done for Atlanta to get what they want or what they should get. But my personal opinion, truthfully, I would love to see Julio Jones in LA.
LA, which one?
Rams, the LA Rams. I would like to see him there. Give Matthew Stafford just one more person to throw to. And Matthew Stafford is not the type of person to single out a wide receiver. He will spread the ball around. And with as many weapons that he has in LA right now, I don't think Julio gets covered as much, which I think will drive down his injuries, and I think he'll be on the field a lot more. So that's where I would like to see him, is in LA. Chances are he'd probably go to the Patriots. And I even think the Browns are looking at him, but Browns have a lot, and I don't think they have the cap space for it. So chances are he'd probably go to New England, but I would love to see him in a Rams uniform.
I asked which LA team. I mean, I
forgot there was 2.
Well, I've for the first time considered the Chargers in LA myself. I've still been calling them San Diego for the longest time. So
yeah. I forgot there was 2. I knew the Rams were there, but I was still. Yeah, to me, the Rams is the only LA team. So we'll call it what it is.
Well, the Rams. All right, that one is interesting. I don't know what the Rams have is in terms of assets. Now the Rams, yeah. So I guess
that space to deal with it either.
Well, they would actually have to trade players, and see, the thing is, normally, you can go. You look at a guy like Julio Jones or somebody else is going to get traded. You can say, well, I can give you this second round draft choice or maybe a late first round draft choice. Well, we know the Rams, they have no draft choices because they've been traded already. They traded 2. I think I forget all the deals off the top of my head, but I know when they acquired Jalen Ramsey from the Jacksonville Jaguars, that was a couple of picks. Then the Golf moved to get Matthew Stafford. That was 2 picks, 2 first rounders, I think. And
I thought it was one first rounder and 2 seconds.
It was later on down the line. I don't think it was like right there in one draft. Was it a first and a third or a first and a second?
I think it was a first and 2 seconds. I could be wrong about that, but I'll look it up.
All right, but they don't traded all their picks. I don't think they have a first round draft choice until
2 years, until 2025. Yeah.
It's like 2030. And so
they put a lot of stock in Matthew Stafford. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would too, but that's a lot of stock in Matthew Stafford.
No, but they gave up a lot of draft capital. And so I don't know what the Rams would trade for him to get it. Fit-wise, that would be excellent because they don't, and I mean, I'm sure this is where you were going with this, but they don't have like a number 1 receiver. They do have Receivers. Cooper Kupp is good. Josh Reynolds is good. Robert Woods is good. But if you can get a Julio Jones to really enhance that, you can have a team that is going to be the favorite to go to the Super Bowl, on top of having the number one defense in the league from last year. So I think that's a good fit. I can see the Rams being a good fit. The Patriots you mentioned, that's a pretty good fit. Another one is the Tennessee Titans. I think the Titans can be a pretty good fit because they lost Corey Davis to the New York Jets. So you just have A.J. Brown to throw to. And if you do bring and they lost a tight end too to the Patriots, Jonnu Smith. So if they bring Julio Jones in there, then that's going to continue to provide some spacing there for Derrick Henry to continue to run as well. On the surface of what was said, go ahead.
The trade was Jared Goff, 2 first-round draft picks and a third.
2 first-round picks and a third. Woo!
2 first-round and a pick and a third. Yep.
So, yeah. So, on the surface of what was said, though, Patrick, it seems out of character Julio Jones would do something like this. Julio Jones doesn't seem like a guy who would set something up just to kind of get some headlines out there. He seems more of the guy who's going to just do his thing, just play the game, do his thing. Yeah, he might have a contract squabble here and there, but normally, I mean, he's pretty quiet. I mean, we don't hear too much about him. Now, on the surface of those comments and the way it came up, here's the deal with this, and this is where I'm kind of on a little bit of a doubt with this. Julio Jones was seen in the airport. I don't remember the airport, but he was seen in the airport wearing a Dallas Cowboys shirt. You come on to Undisputed. Shannon Sharpe, you know he's got a big mouth. Just to say it. I mean, Shannon Sharpe, he talks a lot. We know this about Shannon Sharpe. That is not any secret. If anybody is looking at this and they're like, oh, he just came at Shannon Sharpe. No, Shannon Sharpe is a talker. You can go on NFL Films and watch his career with the Denver Broncos or the Baltimore Ravens. The dude talks. We know this about Shannon Sharpe. That's not alarming news here. So, Skip Bayless, as you know, what is he? Ultimate Dallas Cowboy fan. So go ahead.
And an instigator.
Yeah, and an instigator. So
and he instigates Shannon to keep talking all the time.
Yeah. So you make a phone call. Dude. So you make a phone call. Of course, this becomes a topic on the show. Shannon Sharpe, I guess, has his number basically on speed dial. He makes this call. And because this is Undisputed, you know how I feel about Undisputed and First Take and all those other shows. A lot of that, if not all of it, is staged. Mm-hmm. It's just scripted.
100%. It ain't one bit of that authentic. All of it scripted. They need to take the from us.
And
let me know. They had to freestyle it.
And so, with this, with that platform being what it is, it's hard to put credibility on it because you're thinking how much of this is authentic. I don't see Julio Jones just kind of rising up and being ready for a phone call, but I would think he would be better about knowing the optics of this. If you're posted up with the Dallas Cowboys shirt, you know everybody's going to try to jump on that to see what it means. And so that's why I'm like, Julio, what are you doing? And so that's why I kind of take it with a grain of salt. But then it's the trade request that I guess happened about a month and a half to 2 months ago. And now you're thinking it's inevitable he's going to get traded. To where it will be interesting to see. But on the comments when I first heard it, Patrick, I just said it's Undisputed. And how much credibility is that?
There's absolutely none when it comes to Undisputed, First Take, whatever other shows there's out there that does the same bickering back and forth that is ridiculous. There's no credibility to that. And honestly, it doesn't sound like something Julio would do. I mean, there's all this stuff with Kwame Brown. I mean, Kwame stayed quiet for 20 years, dude. Think about that. And now all of a sudden he's coming out, but he's coming out because he just got sick and tired of it. Nobody's clowning on Julio. Everybody's telling him he's a great wide receiver. The fact that he's coming out, this does not seem right to me. It seems way too staged. I mean, all of this seems way too staged because it just does not seem something like Julio would do. He's not being clowned like Kwame. He's not being told he's a bust for where he got picked or in any of this stuff. He's actually being praised for being the best wide receiver in the game. So this is coming out of nowhere for me, and I'm not buying it. Now, don't get me wrong. I do buy the fact that he did ask for a trade. I am buying that because I think he does want out of there. Not because he hates Atlanta, just because, but it's where the offense is going. It's more of a spread, and it's not going to give Julio the opportunity to be Julio anymore. I completely understand that. Plus, he's been there for 11 years? Dude, he ain't making anything there. It's time for him to move on. You know what I'm saying? I want him to go to a place where he has an opportunity for a ring. And in Atlanta, right now, there's not an opportunity for that. He deserves a ring. He works his butt off to be where he's at. So, no, he deserves a ring. Get him a ring. Trade him to somebody that can get him a ring.
All right, Patrick. Well, let's move on. And to top it off, man, so it'll be interesting to see where he ends up, though. But, yeah, I am with you. Before we move on, I am with you with the Rams. It would be good to see him there. Okay, not for me because I'm a 49ers fan. I'm not trying to see him with the Rams. But,
can you imagine?
From a fit perspective, yeah. That would be
I think he's been great there.
Yeah, it would be a good fit. And then New England and Tennessee, those are a couple other teams I can see. I did hear Green Bay, which is a good segue to what we're about to talk about next. And Aaron Rodgers apparently he's popped up, finally having some public comments for the first time since this whole thing about this rift between him and the organization came up. So he was on ESPN Sports Center during Kenny Mayne's show. So Kenny Mayne, for those of y'all who are familiar with Sports Center, Kenny Mayne, he has been with the show for a while. I mean, 27 years. 27. And he's leaving. Or last night was his final show. He had Aaron Rodgers on there. They're pretty cool with each other. To me, Patrick, not much came out of this that we didn't know already. As a matter of fact, I'll even say this. From what he said yesterday, I feel even more stronger about him returning to Green Bay. It just sounds like this is a guy who is upset about some organizational things. And it seems really geared toward one person, toward their GM, O'Brien Gutekunst.
You probably practiced that name for about 2 weeks before we did this show.
No, man. Look, I just sat there and I just looked at the name. I did struggle with the guy. I said Gutekunst. So we'll go Gutekunst. And but
I call him Goo.
The Goot. There we go. Goot. And so but all this was just kind of he didn't mention them by name, but one thing Aaron Rodgers continued to reference is the culture and the people. People make it this, people make it that. All that is true because, the culture, when you go into somewhere, people talk about the culture, but it is about the people who work in this culture and what they're willing to bring in terms of tradition and honoring that tradition and making it a good, pleasant workplace for you to be at. And that's what Aaron Rodgers continued to reference during this interview. All the stuff with these trades and all these potential trades and what he's going to do. Look, I didn't see anything that was said in this interview for me to say, oh, yeah, he's gone. I feel like, and both of us said this when it came out, he will be the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers come the start of the season. And after this interview, I feel even better about that. It really just seems like they need to just sit down and talk. just get face to face. Because he said himself, Aaron said himself, I don't have a problem with the head coach, Matt LaFleur. I don't even have a problem with Jordan Love, which everybody thought that was the driving force behind this.
I thought it was.
Yeah, I still think that was a small part of it, or not even a small part, a nice little part of it. I mean, yeah, he was upset because he wasn't told about it, and I guess he just wanted a little bit of heads up about it. But I just, me, Patrick, I just think he just mad because they blew that opportunity last year, and everybody is salty about it. But it really does seem like, I mean, he said that he loves Jordan. He's worked with Jordan a lot. He loves Jordan. And he loves coaches. He loves the teammates. The only person he didn't mention he loves is that GM, Gook. So they just need to sit down. So they just need to sit down, get it together. I personally don't think they're that far off. I mean, unless there's some other stuff that we don't know about. But it just sounds like they need to sit down. They need to talk. Maybe it does take a trade. You get Julio Jones up there. I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers would be happy with that. And so, but that's what I think, Patrick. I don't see anything.
I didn't watch the show, but I did hear about it and I did read what he was saying. And like you said, I mean, it was a lot. The people and the culture and da-da-da, and he never mentioned the GM one time. I'm not even going to attempt to say his name because I'll be the Goo. He never mentioned anything about the Goo. And so, with that being said, look, you're right. You're absolutely right. This sounds like a conversation, and unfortunately, it's going to be a tough conversation, and it's what the world needs. Honestly, I mean, it honestly needs these two to sit down and just have a conversation, work out the differences, man to man, be men about it. You know what I mean? And work it out, whether it's behind closed doors or whether it's out in front of everybody. Just work it out. And if you don't see eye to eye, well, at least you know where each other stands, and you might be able to work together. Because look, I mean, and this is a message just to everybody out there that's trying to find a job, whether you're a professional or you are a business owner or you are just an employee trying to get a job. And I don't mean that just as an employee, but I mean as an employee trying to get a job. You're going to work with some people you don't like. Period, point blank. You are. No matter where you're going. You know what I'm saying? You are going to work with somebody you don't like. Period. So Aaron Rodgers, Ron, check it out. Talk with the man. You might actually get along with him far better than thinking you're going to think that the grass is greener on the other side, because it's probably not. You're probably not going to, you may not like you may love the GM, but you're going to hate the head coach. Or you may love the GM and the head coach, but you're going to hate the offensive coordinator. And if you love everybody on the coaching staff, and that's a great thing to have, is that you love everybody on the coaching staff, you're going to hate a wide receiver. You're going to hate a running back. You're going to be like, why do I got to touch the ball and hand it off this D-bag because I don't like him? Come on. Just suck it up. Have a conversation. You might be able to work with this guy better, because I'm telling you, the grass is not greener on the other side. It's not. So be a man up to this situation, go talk to him and see where it goes. And if you don't see eye to eye, then ask for a trade.
Yeah.
Not that big of a deal.
The Packers they done said they're not trading him. Like, this dude is not.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. Like, this dude is not for sale. But you know what, Patrick? Couple of things off of what you said. Number one, I'm gonna go to the legacy thing here, because this man has played.
And I got something to say about legacy after you're done too.
Okay, cool. He has played with the Packers his whole career. And I think that is, if you're to ask me, I think that is a big deal for Aaron Rodgers. I honestly do not think he wants to leave Green Bay. I think he is happy there in Green Bay. I think he mentioned it in the interview with Kenny Mayne about that culture, about the people there. He loves everything except for that GM, apparently. But I don't think he wants to leave Green Bay at all. So that to me actually makes this easier, because it would be one thing if he said, you know what, I want out. I am done. No, I'm out. I can't stand Green Bay. That'd be one thing if he said that, but that's not necessarily what he's saying. And I definitely didn't take that from the comments. Sounds like he loves Green Bay. Sounds like he loves being up there and playing for the Packers, understanding the legacy that came before him, Bart Starr and Brett Favre. He wants to be there. So I think he would like it if he was able to finish his career there in Green Bay. Another thing he mentioned was, with that pick of Jordan Love, he kind of knew the Packers were planning on moving on from him. Now, they didn't know he was going to have an MVP season next year. So now they're like, oh,
he's still got some years.
Yeah, we might have messed up here as the organization. Let's see if we can figure some things out. I think, look, Aaron Rodgers comes across as a very salty guy, and he holds grudges. So, yeah. So with that, I mean, he took that, he used it as motivation. He got an MVP season. One more thing about off of one of your comments, you had said something. Let me see if I can pull it up. You said, yeah, the grass being greener. I don't think wherever it is he gets traded, there's not going to be a better opportunity to win a Super Bowl than what he has right now with the Green Bay Packers. I do agree with you there. If they are right there, they've made it to the NFC Championship game 2 seasons in a row. Make a change here, make a change there. If it has to be a receiver, okay, cool. Personally, I think they need to add that defensive line up a little bit so they can stop the run a little bit better. But hey, if you figure you have to get another weapon, then go and do that. But I don't think if Aaron Rodgers, because I keep on hearing the Denver Broncos, if he goes to Denver, sorry, no, that's not a better situation than what he has in Green Bay. You go to Denver, yeah, you go to Denver, you got to go to Kansas City. You got to deal with Kansas City twice a year, and the AFC looks pretty loaded these days. Yeah. So I'm with you on everything you had said there, especially that part about the grass not being greener. Your best chance to win a Super Bowl is to stay in Green Bay right now as it stands.
Yeah. And then on this legacy thing, I think Green Bay needs to really – I think Green Bay needs to start thinking ahead. And I don't mean by thinking ahead by just going, okay, well, we gotta look for the next quarterback. No, what they need to do is they've done this to 2 men in a row, right? Brett Favre. When he was ending his career, they went out and got Aaron Rodgers. That pissed Brett Favre off so much that he was like, I'm going to retire. And then they were like, well, look, dude, we'll give you $20 million to stay retired. He didn't take that, went to Minnesota and put them in the freaking playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So we saw this happening with Brett Favre. Fast forward 16 years, we're seeing it again with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, come on, Green Bay. Look, if you're ready to move on from the man, then move on. But if you're not, look, put somebody in place, but don't spend a draft pick on him to go and get him. You've made this mistake twice in a row now. You need to learn from your mistakes. And that goes on legacy, saying, look, if you do it again, let's say that Jordan Love does what Bart Starr and then Brett Favre and then what Aaron Rodgers has done. Let's say Jordan Love does it. Well, he's learning from Bart Starr, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be a salty dude when you do it again. So let's calm down. Let's see where Aaron Rodgers goes. Put somebody in place in hopes that you don't have to use it, but put somebody in place. Don't go using a draft pick on it, and don't do it again. Is what I'm saying. Don't do this again, because every time a man comes to the end of his career, y'all jumping the gun and thinking that, oh, we got to look ahead. Yeah, you do got to look ahead, and don't get me wrong, that's just a business decision. But some people don't see it as a business decision. They see it as a threat to their position. So let's calm down. Let's use our draft picks a little more, just a smidge more wisely. Maybe go get a lineman, a defensive lineman, and let's see how it goes. And if you need to trade later, then you got Aaron freaking Rodgers. Trade him. He's a great asset to have. And if you need to trade him later, then you got a lot of trading options. So that's what I was going to say.
Well, all right, to be fair, I think the Packers, so with that Brett Favre thing, yeah, they did draft him. They drafted Aaron Rodgers. He sat for 3 years. Now, after that year where they went to the NFC Championship game, they got knocked out, I think it was by the New York Giants. Yeah, by the Giants. Mm-hmm. They wanted Favre to come back. Favre held this press conference. Yo, I'm retiring. He cried, all that. And so the Packers are like, well, yo, we got Aaron Rodgers here. We're going to play him. And then Brett Favre's like, no, I want my job back. No, dude, you're retired.
Well, and you're absolutely right. And Brett Favre was a little baby on that as well. And I meant that. You're absolutely right. And I think a lot of that was more self-inflicted on Brett Favre. But Brett Favre knew what the problem was. He knew that Green Bay wasn't going to shed a tear for that. They were like, you're retired? Cool. Let's put this young stallion in and see what happens. And they're excited about this. They're excited about moving on from Brett Favre. And don't get me wrong, Brett Favre, hey, not many people who know he played for 2 teams. And the first team he played for, he sucked.
Yeah, he played in 4 teams, actually.
Well, actually, yes, he did play for the Vikings and the Jets. But before Green Bay, he actually threw 4 passes in Atlanta, and 3 of them were interceptions. So, with that being said, when Atlanta said, no, can you imagine what that would have been like if Brett Favre done his career in Atlanta? I think it would have been trash, dude. Because I just don't think he would. I don't think he would have been the quarterback he would have gotten to be in Green Bay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Y'all had them old school jerseys playing at the old Fulton County Stadium. They had the baseball diamond in the middle there. I remember.
Hey, I used up 3 of my favors to get my aunt a Brett Favre jersey.
A Falcons one? Awesome.
Yeah. No, it was a cousin.
Oh, okay. Well, Patrick, hey, let's.
Now, my aunt loves Brett Favre, but I didn't know it at the time. But I did. I had to pull a few strings to get that thing, and I finally got it.
Oh,
and all he did was sell it, dude. I was so mad. Like, dude, seriously, you just sold it. Wasted 3 of my freaking favors. Man. No, my aunt loves Brett Favre, though.
Well, Patrick, hey, let's move on to another Atlanta team. The Hawks. Well, this isn't not necessarily about the Hawks as much as it is about the NBA playoffs. Of course, we have the first weekend that is kicked off, and we are in the middle of game 2s now. Looks like the Nets, last time I checked, was destroying the Celtics. And then you have the Lakers, Suns, and Mavericks, Clippers coming on later on the night. So if you got to catch anything from the first weekend, Patrick, what caught your eye? Well, besides the Hawks.
The Hawks, man. That's what I call it. 1-0, baby. We are We are leading in a series right now.
Yes. You say it like it's been 20 years, Patrick.
Huh?
You say it like it's been 20 years since y'all been in the playoffs. It hasn't been that long.
What, 19?
Well, yeah.
No, I mean I know we had a few good runs with that Josh Smith and that crew.
Al Horford and Millsap.
Al Horford and yeah, I know we had some pretty good runs there, but I'm gonna tell you, Al Horford wasn't as good in Atlanta as he is now. Plus, probably because he put 20 pounds on. So he is like, he was not stacked in Atlanta. That dude was tall and lanky.
I mean, that team was kind of a revelation too, right? I mean, they weren't expected to be that good to where they were getting
they were a revelation, and it hasn't happened since. But hey, they got a pretty decent squad right now. I'm not, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here going to be like, oh, they're going to they can beat the Clippers or the Lakers. They're not going to beat it. Any team is going to be hard for Atlanta to beat in a 7-game series. They're going to be hard. And but I mean, like Atlanta doing their thing. Brooklyn, man, they about to close out on a 2-0 series lead right now. Mavericks, hey, 1-0. Clippers going down, dude. Down. And I was actually impressed.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I've been saying that, but I just didn't trust the Mavs' health, as you know.
Yeah, it's hard to trust their health, but right now they 1-0, so at least they ain't gonna get swept. So we can say that. And then the next thing that caught my eye was the Suns beating the Lakers. So
yeah,
that
Phoenix. I actually caught a good amount of that game, and they were the aggressors. Right? I mean, they played really enthused, ready to go. I guess anybody who was looking for that team to have any type of stage fright, with them being in the playoffs for the first time in a while and then playing the defending champs, that didn't happen. Like, they came out there and they brought it to the Lakers. They played with force. They came after, dude. They were trapping. They were trapping Anthony Davis. They were trapping LeBron James. They were trapping everybody. They came after them. And so if they have that type of mindset, look, the Lakers, there's some signs there that show some decay. And I don't know if it's going to be one of those things that can be exposed to the point where they are getting knocked out in a series. But I do know this. Western Conference is very rough and rugged. So if they are able to get by the Suns somehow, you got either Denver or Portland waiting, or maybe Utah, or maybe Dallas, or whoever. If maybe the Clippers, if the Clippers manage to get by them, who knows, whatever. But this Western Conference is really, really tough. If the Lakers think they are good enough to turn on and off switch here, I don't think that's going to happen, man, because I don't think LeBron's the same player. Anthony Davis, I just don't know how much he could carry the load if LeBron ain't healthy. I think he can have 1 or 2 good games in a series, but you're asking him to just kind of carry on through. Nah, the rest of that team going to have to step up. And so just that first game that I saw, and it's game 1, so I'm not trying to sit there and say, oh yeah, the series is over, but that's what that kind of gave me a clue into. That's what it kind of showed me. The Lakers are going to have to play. They better be on point, because if not, they can get knocked out here. It could be over here. And so they're going to have to get straight. And me personally, I still don't think LeBron is really all that healthy. Personally, I don't think he's 100% healthy. He just doesn't look as explosive right now as he has. And so we'll see there.
Well, I can say this about that. I can say this about it. Let's just say, hypothetically, Lakers get past the Suns.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever they go against, the Suns are good enough to expose that weakness. And they did. They exposed the weakness on them on Monday. And it let us know the first weakness that I saw was LeBron was not 100%. And you know, when we had Stan on the last broadcast, I said this. I said we don't know if LeBron is even 100% right now. Well, weakness number one, LeBron is not 100%. Weakness number two, AD is not going to carry him through a series. So there is two weaknesses that are pretty exposed right now. And weakness number three, LA ain't going to win with either one of if one of those are out, LA ain't winning because LeBron needs somebody to help him, especially in the Western Conference. I would not be I would be a little bit more like, you know, you probably get by if he was in the Eastern Conference, but he's not. He's in a battle-tested, very rugged Western Conference. And without AD, LeBron ain't carrying the Lakers to a championship. And without LeBron, AD ain't carrying them to a championship. And right now, both of them do not look 100%. So that being said, I mean, don't get me wrong. I still think the Lakers will beat them. But that game one made a huge statement for Phoenix saying, you know what? I don't care if you are 100% or if you're 50%. We're coming to play. We're looking at knocking you out. And I was really, really excited for Phoenix to have that mindset, that killer mentality to going in and saying, you know, yeah, y'all are the champions, but we ain't scared. We're going to play. And y'all better be ready to play. And like you said, this ain't no on and off switch right now. You got the Mavs, the Clippers, the Suns, the Nuggets. I mean, that list is tough. And there is no on and off switch. You better have it on. There is an on and off switch, but it better be on because you ain't going to win a series if it's not.
Yeah. So, I mean, just kind of looking at some of these other series also, yeah, I like what I saw from Milwaukee. Milwaukee, they took care of business there at home. So now they're going to Miami for game 3. But you know, Milwaukee, they had a big win. Game 1 was really important to me. And I say that because that game that they played against Miami in game 1, they would have lost that last year. That game was in the bubble. Miami would have won that game. But because of a couple of those additions, the Drew Holiday addition and Chris Middleton stepping up, that's what carried them through in that game. You know, he was making plays, Drew Holiday I'm talking about. He was making plays that where they had Eric Bledsoe last year, Eric Bledsoe would not have made those plays. And so you could get a couple of defensive stops, which like what Drew Holiday did on the last shot attempt by Jimmy Butler blocking that shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. And that's why, to me, I think people are sleeping on Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee is going to be heard from. And plus, they don't have that pressure. Of course, they were the number 1 seed the last couple of years, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, they're number 1 seed. They should carry on through." Well, now they're number 3. People are looking at Philly. People are looking at Brooklyn, seeing what they're doing. Milwaukee kind of under the radar. Tough matchup they have in this first round, but I think not having that pressure of being expected to do something, I think that kind of loosens them up. And at least for these first 2 games in Milwaukee, they look pretty loose. So we'll see what happens when this series shifts to Miami. The Hawks and Knicks, I think that might be the funnest series out of all of them. Like, I think that series is going to be awesome. I did catch that game. And the atmosphere in New York for that was awesome, man. The crowd was into it. And Trae Young silenced them. He silenced them. And so, I mean...
Hey, wait till it goes to Atlanta. That atmosphere is not going to change. You're looking at 2 teams that have not been in the playoffs in quite some time. I'm going to tell you, that atmosphere is when you're going to go in. Who's the dude from New York? Randall?
Yeah, Julius Randle.
Julius Randle. Don't be surprised if he goes into Atlanta and says, "Hey, Trae, remember what you did game 1? Game 3, I got you, and answers back. I'm not going to be surprised if he goes in and silences Atlanta because Randall has that ability to do that. So just because Atlanta won Game 1, and don't be surprised. And I know you won't, but I'm telling the breath of fresh air fan, don't be surprised if Julius Randle doesn't walk into Atlanta and repays Trae Young for what he did in Game 1.
Hey, I'm gonna say one more thing. Going back to the Mavericks and Clippers, if the Clippers lose tonight, they in trouble.
That will be the only game I will tell you somebody will be in trouble. And Brooklyn and Boston, like Boston, sorry, Jose, when you watch this, but Boston loses like this again, they're in trouble, and they're well on their way to.
They're getting swept, dude. I'm saying, I think they're getting swept.
They possibly will. 128 to 102 with a minute 50 left in the game. It is a possibility. I do want to say one thing before we move on, and I know we got to move on. Milwaukee flying under the radar. I will tell you this right now. Yes, you're absolutely right. Right now they are. But they sweep Miami, they're not under the radar anymore.
Oh, no, because now you're looking at a matchup with Brooklyn next. Yeah. And so I've been wanting to see that one if it does happen, because I think Milwaukee can get them. Everybody is so high on Brooklyn, and I'm just like, they still don't play no defense. So, I don't know. But I would love to see that matchup.
When you win and you still allow 104 points, there's no defense there. It's just a bunch of high fives for scoring a lot of points. That's all it is.
Well, shoot, Patrick. Well, hey, let's talk about some of the hockey playoffs, man. So I've been sitting here and I was looking at some of these matchups, and Edmonton, gone. Edmonton, out of here. Capitals, out of here. The Blues, swept by the Avalanche. I mean, these teams are getting gone. Now, there's been some good series. That Penguins-Islanders series has been really fun to see. And so have the Panthers and Lightning. That series has been pretty fun to see, too. But I'll tell you what, the Avalanche, they look every bit like the President's Trophy winners right now. They look really strong. Oh, yeah. To sweep St. Louis, I know St. Louis ain't quite the same as they were when they won the Stanley Cup in 2019, but
they're not a bad team.
Yeah, you don't sweep St. Louis. You don't just roll up and sweep St. Louis. You got to be pretty good to do that. And the Avs made it look, I hate to say easy, but they looked dominant in that series.
They made it look easy. I mean, I watched a little bit of the games, and when I watched it, dude, when let's put it this way, one of the statistics that the Avalanche had was they scored. Oh crap! I remember looking at it earlier today. I cannot think. On the power play, they scored like 70% on the power play. Again, it was
they insane. Have a lot of weapons, man.
70% on power plays. I was like, you don't score 70%. I don't give a crap who you're playing. You don't score 70% on power play, and they did. And I was like, that's an interesting statistic. So I was like, I was going back and looking at some of the statistics. I was like, what? I mean, it had me squinting my eyes, man. I was like, I was trying to get closer to read it. They just dominated the Blues, man.
Look, Patrick, I could be wrong. I mean, because it's hockey, and you know what a hot goaltender can do in these series. I don't know if anybody's going to beat Colorado, man. I mean, Colorado looks really, really strong. I don't really see anybody. I won't say not threaten them. Winnipeg, we'll see. I mean, I didn't think they would sweep Edmonton like they did, but
I didn't either.
But
that kind of come as a little bit of a shock to me. I was like, but it wasn't. But they didn't dominate. They didn't dominate by no means. Not the way the Avalanche did. That team was like they are playing. And the funny thing was, is I don't really recall the Avalanche ever even playing that well throughout the season like this.
So I can go back to, I guess, their Kwanzaa bubble. Last year they got to, I want to say, the semifinals of the Western Conference. Got knocked out in 7 games by the Dallas Stars. Right there, I'm like, Colorado has some players there. Look like they got something brewing there. And they could have won that series, by the way. I mean, obviously, if it goes 7 games, then yeah, you could say that. But Colorado could have won that series. I mean, they could have been playing in the conference finals. So I kind of go back to that and said, just to tell myself, okay, Colorado had a pretty strong season, or at least that second half of the season. Can they carry that momentum back? Well, come to find out, they had a couple of players that were out, and now they're looking healthy, and this is what you're getting. 3-4 solid lines of pure speed. I remember one of the hockey analysts, I think his name's Pierre McGuire. He said, hey, look, St. Louis, very physical. Colorado, very fast. If St. Louis can't use their physicality to neutralize that, it's going to be a problem. And that's exactly what happened. They could not neutralize Colorado's speed, and it was over. Over before the shouting. I mean, like, it's done.
Well, I was so this was one of the stats. I had to pull this one up because I couldn't remember what it was. But game 3, when the Avalanche won 5-1, how do you say his last name? The goalie, Philip Grubier.
Yeah, Grubier. Yeah, yep.
That dude had 31 saves with 32 shots on goal. That's amazing, dude. He allowed 1 goal, and dude, he's a hot goalie right now too. And like you said, you said it before, man. A hot goalie will take you through the playoffs. He stays like this, I might have to agree with you. I don't think there's a team out there that can beat the Avalanche at this point. If he stays this hot, I mean, look at that. I mean, dude, the last game he played, they won 5-2, 20 shots on goal, 18 saves. But what does that tell you about your blue liners when you're only allowing 20 shots on goal?
Yeah, and Patrick, it's a hot goalie with a hot offense. They scored 20 goals in the 4 games.
And a hot defense.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a hot goalie with hot blue liners that is not allowing shots on goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, their offense is clicking on some whole other level. I mean, yeah, they're using 3 lines right now, but they're only using 2 lines in blue on their defense, which is about normal when you get into hockey, especially in the playoffs. You normally drop to 3 lines and 2 lines on your defense. But there's times where Colorado, like when they get a power play, they mix their 1 and 2 lines and throw it out there like no problem. So I mean, they're good. I mean, and well coached, man. That coach has got them playing on some other level right now. They're good.
Yeah, because I'm trying to look in the East, and I mean Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is always a threat. The Islanders, we'll see. They played Game 6 with the Penguins on Wednesday night. See if they can put them away. They got them in New York on Long Island, so they need to go ahead and put that away. They don't need to go back to Pittsburgh and mess around with the Game 7. Boston.
No, they don't.
Boston, you know what? Look, they beat the Capitals in 5 games. That's a pretty dominant win too. And so, I mean, if you're going to get that, Boston, they're just as capable as anybody else. I mean, they're not that far removed from a Stanley Cup appearance. I mean, they were there, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. And I think won it 4 years ago, right?
They won one in 2011. I don't think they've won
10 years
since
ago.
then. But they're always there. Like Boston is always around. They made the Stanley Cup. What year was that? 2013. Got beat by the Blackhawks.
Yeah, got beat by But that Chicago team was like that Chicago team is playing really close to what this Avalanche team is playing this year.
Yeah,
I would love to see that matchup. I mean, granted, you'll never see that, but that would be a really good matchup. 2013 Blackhawks versus the 2021 Avalanche. Ooh, that'd be a heck of a game.
Yeah, the Avalanche has to top that off with the Stanley Cup title. They
do have to do that. And then unless they do that, then I mean, if they don't do that, then take that remark out. But if they do top it off with a Stanley Cup, that would be a heck of a series right there.
Well, hey, Patrick, let's talk about some golf before we get on out. When's the last time we talked about golf, man? But I
think the last time we talked about golf was me on a shorty, which is like a year ago.
Okay, yes. We gotta get on golf, man. Look, because hey, we see what's going on. You know, we had some soccer in there a couple of weeks ago, and then we talked about some hockey today. Definitely with the playoffs going on, got to get some hockey in there. And with golf, man, so a couple of things. First off, congrats to Phil Mickelson for winning the PGA Championship. 50 years old, man. 50 years old. And beat all these young bucks.
AJ anything in golf, man. Hey, as long as you can drop that ball 250 yards, you good. And Mickelson can do that.
Well, congrats to Phil, man. I mean, that was good. I've always kind of liked Phil Mickelson. Like, if I'm going to talk about some golf, I've always kind of liked him because he's not afraid to take those risks. Like, this dude, he'll take some risks, and it looks bad sometimes. Absolutely, it does. But, boy, when they work, they work.
But this game, it's so fun watching him play, dude. So fun watching him play.
And this tournament, though, you saw he was still taking some risks, but this was just like an all-around game. Like, it was more calculated, like a little bit more measured. And so I just kind of like just that revelation in his game because he was the ultimate risk taker. And so, because he'll be the one like, you know what? I know I got these two trees in the way, but I think I can split these two trees in there. And then he hits a branch and it's done.
Dude, he is that one person that's like, why is the hole on the other side of a forest? I think I can clear that forest. I don't think. I'm going to try.
And it ends up in the water.
And it ends up in the bunks, or it ends up in this is the reason why he's always having to split the trees, is because he will try to shoot over the forest. And I'm like, Phil, you are one right now, bro. You are one. Why are you trying to kill it over the trees? And you know you can't. That's 400 yards. That's 400 yards to hole, to before you're on the green. And you're trying to kill it over the trees. He's like, I got it. Is it how you used to say Brett Favre was? Yeah, that's Phil.
Yeah, touchdown. You got it.
Oh, interception, man. All right, I'll get it on the next one. There ain't nobody in this world better than Brett Favre throwing 4 interceptions and 5 touchdowns and win a game.
There it is. Yeah.
And there's nothing better than watching Phil Mickelson hit the ball 325 yards into a forest and then go, I think I can split those trees. No, Phil, you can't. You're saying you're going to split those trees? Do you not see the other 5 that's standing there too? Yeah, got it. Dude, he's so fun to watch because he is that risk taker. And truthfully, I mean, he lives and dies. I mean, he lives and dies by the risk. And yeah, it's cost him a lot of tournaments, but it's also won him a lot. So
yeah, got 6 majors.
So. Winning that was awesome.
Yeah, got 6 majors. So I mean, he's doing his thing, and this is one of those really surprising ones. Where they're like, what? You won this? Yeah, you won it. Congrats to Phil on that one. But another thing that came out of there, Patrick, is this one. So look, I don't know if you caught the 45-second clip, but basically Brooks Koepka, he was doing an interview. And this was some footage that I guess was not used, but someone found it, pulled it out of there from the Golf Network, and it was a 45-second clip. So basically, he's doing an interview with the Golf Network, and Bryson DeChambeau just walks through with these spikes just really, really loud. And the eye roll Brooks Koepka gave him was, dude, this one might have been better than the Kevin Love eye roll. Like,
I'll go and watch it because I hadn't seen it, but nothing's better than that Kevin Love eye roll, dude.
The Kevin Love eye roll was classic. This one, you'll see. This one was kind of right up there with it. And so and I guess there's like a little budding rivalry there. And I guess it just boils down to DeChambeau. So I know you watch your share of golf. So you're probably familiar with DeChambeau taking a little while to get a swing or to make a putt. Apparently, players, including Koepka, has complained about that. So that was one thing. And then there was another one where DeChambeau kind of took a shot at Koepka when Koepka was on the ESPN, the magazine Body Issue. And basically got loose and said, man, he don't even have a six-pack. He's got no abs. And then Koepka came back with this, I'm just short of a six-pack, flashing his 4 major wins that he has.
I love this rivalry between them. And it goes back a long time. But, man, I tell you, I would love to see them one tournament last day be paired up together.
Yes, me too. My gosh,
I swear to God, dude, I will not turn my TV from that. I don't care who's playing. You want to talk about because right now I'm like huge in this and dude, I have I got to talk about baseball, bro. College World Series, that's gonna be my shorty. Dude. So I'm like watching it, but dude, if they got paired, I will watch nothing but golf. I would watch that if they got paired up. You know, and it has to be a major tournament. Like it has to be like Augusta. You know what I'm saying? Being paired up together.
Masters, right?
Oh, that would be so awesome. Because you would know the quiet signs come out. That's gonna be quiet.
Here's another thing though, man. So when you watch that clip, man, Koepka dropped a couple or maybe a few 4-letter bombs in there too. It was great, dude. It was so awesome because he was doing the interview, and then here comes DeChambeau just trudging with these spikes. And the eye roll, and he said, man, I lost my train of thought. Beep, beep. I'm like, yes. The 4-letter bombs, bring them out. Let's go.
Dude, I love that rivalry, man.
Watch that clip. And for everybody else, watch that clip if you haven't checked it out. It's pure gold.
And when you watch the clip, drop the comment because I
Well, Patrick, let's get on out of here, man. That's what we are breathing on for today. Y'all make sure y'all check out the Breath of Fresh Air Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel. And what, Patrick?
Oh, this is a shout out to my son. So I told him I'd do this. So slap that subscribe button.
Slap that subscribe button. And keep the likes coming on the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page.
I'm gonna bring him on. I'm gonna bring him on the YouTube channel one day.
That's cool. Yeah, now you know I'll be down for that.
He wants to be out here so bad, but I'm like, you're 8. But you know what? Whatever. I'm gonna bring him on. I need to bring him on. I'm just gonna we gotta make a good day. talk about, we'd have to talk about something that he knows about, like what would be something good to talk about? Unspeakable. So do research on that. And I'll have to do mine, of course, because that is something it gets on my nerves, truthfully. But hey, shout out to Unspeakable, man. They're doing their thing and killing it. So YouTube famous, bro, and they are. So shout out to them. I look, no disrespect, I don't like your show, but hey, shout out to you because you're killing it, dude.
Well, all right, Patrick. Well, let's get on out of here, man. And you said a shorty's coming this week.
Yes, I will have it for you. I'm gonna do it on College World Series because it's getting time. And yes, I'm gonna tell you, bro, I predict 12 SEC teams in the World Series, bro. Have you even watched any of it?
I watched a little bit of it, man. I normally don't watch a whole bunch of college baseball until around the time when they're doing the super regionals and all that other good stuff. Well, not even the super regionals, conference tournaments.
Well, the start of this, don't be surprised if there's 12 teams from the SEC in it. There's 8 or 9 in the top 25 right now.
Well, shoot, I look forward to your shorty. And should probably educate me a little bit on it, to be honest, on the teams that are in there.
I'll set you up. I'll have you ready. You're gonna be like, holy. But 9. There's like 8 or 9 in the top 25 right now, and Arkansas is the truth, man. They're hard to beat. Hey, your Texas team is number 2.
Yeah, I seen that we're finally doing good. It's about time. Well,
they better hold it down though, because they're about to run into some good baseball. I can tell you that.
Well, all right. Well, be on the lookout for Patrick Shorty, and hopefully I get an article to y'all later on this week as well. And everybody take it easy. Y'all have a good rest of the week, and we will talk soon.